YouTube, what's going on? It's Trey back again, hit you with a video. Now, this video right here is about a daycare center that has some pretty messed up bad workers in it. And the last thing that you want to happen to your child when you drop them off to go to work or whatever you have to do that day is to be worried about their safety being in danger by somebody who clearly does not care about children and shouldn't even be working around children. And it saddens me that you have people in this day and age that would treat people, especially children, toddlers, any kind of way like that. And that's what you will see in this video right here. And I will leave the link in the description box below. You have a woman basically gets kind of, not kind of, she gets pissed off. She gets mad because a child, which a child, we all make mistakes. We all know what it is and what it was to be a child. And we know we wasn't perfect, and I'm sure she wasn't also, but she takes it upon herself after a kid spills some milk to not only disrespect that child, but to also wipe that child's mouth with a mop after she basically wiping it all over the floor. I guess she was trying to kill two birds with one stone, so have you. But this clearly shows you that people like that shouldn't work around children. And we done seen a lot of videos. I'd have made quite a few about these daycares and stuff, and how these daycares are basically just like holding cells, prisons for little babies. And a lot of times when your kids be going to these places, if you notice how bad your child be acting when they get there, it's because 9 times out of 10, it's something going on inside there. See, we think the child, when a child acts out or when a child do something, we pretty much assume that the child do not want to go in a daycare because, being stubborn, just being a kid. You know how they be rebellious, or they just mad and not in the mood. But sometimes your children warns you in a lot of ways because they not articulate enough yet. Of course, we know that. We know, you know, developmental abilities of these kids is not able and on par to conversate with you and tell you what all is going on in these places, like mama, daddy, uh, she's doing this or he's doing this to me there, so they pretty much act out. Just like if they want some water or if they want some food, they'll cry or they'll clap their hands or they'll go to the refrigerator point. Just depends on, who your kid is and everything else like that. So you have to take that into consideration also. Pay attention to your children. I always emphasize that. Pay attention to your children because your children lets you pretty much know what all is going on. And, we being busy, we can't always be there. We can't always hold our kids' hand and walk with them inside there and sit with them because we have to, you know, pay the bills. We have to get out and make a living of our own. And you have this woman who clearly violates everybody trust. I mean, if I had a child there, I would definitely take my child out, even if you know that wasn't my child that happened to, because that's a crying shame that you would have somebody who would not only be rough with the kid. She put a child way up there. You can sprain them kids' arms like that or pull it out of the socket, and then you have multiple grown women standing around basically seeing this. Now she starts mopping the the floor right beside the child where the child spilled the milk at. And then that's when she started like going up a little higher. Then that's when she hit the child out in the face. Then she turned around and do it to another child. Like, what kind of daycare is this? And who in their right mind will leave their child at one of these places? And see, when you go to these places, like I told you, you have to observe your surroundings. You have to observe the surroundings at these daycare centers. You have to notice and try to observe everything from the smells to the sounds that goes on. And what kind of feeling do you get when you walk in there? Because trust me, your child might will have some of the same feelings too. If you felt a bad vibe when you went in there, a lot of times that kid gonna feel a bad vibe also. And you also have to listen to your little one if they come at you, like if they're old enough to talk, and they're telling you and showing you a point somewhere on their body, because once again they're not articulate enough to express themselves and explain themselves. So you have to basically be in tune with your kid and pay attention to them, because you have to understand, you would love for somebody, I mean, you would love uh, for someone to treat your child how you would treat them, especially for those who love their kids. You see what I'm saying? Because not every parent love their kid, of course we know that, but you want to be able to trust them just like you would trust a loved one or a family member with your child. But it just clearly shows you that when you have women like this, and it's men too, but it's mostly women that work in these daycare centers, it's sad, and it really shows you the kind of person that they really are. Like, what are your motherly instincts at? And you would think that you being the nurturer of this world, society, women, females, that you would show more compassion for a child than this, for a baby, basically a little old toddler. And it really just saddens me to really see that, because these kids didn't ask to be here. You know what I'm saying? They didn't ask for you to lay down with whoever else. So it's our job to protect them, and it's also our job to call the mess out when we see it, because don't nobody want somebody hurting their child, doing something to their kids, especially, with all the things going on in this world now. I mean, you have all kinds of stuff going on, and do not put your child in these non-stimulating environments where there's no kind of interesting interaction between the kids. Like, if you go in a place, you see these cribs against one wall and they lined up just like they in prison bunks or some kind of jail cell walking down a tier. You don't want that for your child. You want your child to be in a stimulating environment, not a non-stimulating environment. That way it can stimulate their brain. That way you can, because this is where they develop at. And a lot of times when you see these kids and when they lead up to teens, and you wonder why they are missing certain developmental keys, is because they wasn't in a non-stimulating environment. They wasn't in a stimulating environment. They was somewhere probably shucked to the side somewhere, or they were just basically at a daycare center or around people who weren't trying to stimulate their minds and teach them, because you have to understand the way a child minds work. You see what I'm saying? That's why we kept picking up things when we was young. For those who remember, you kept trying to figure out what's this, what's that, because that's how your mind works. Your mind trying to conceive and perceive all this information, and so you want to remember, you want to put your child in a place where they can have a stimulating environment and also emotional support from the caregivers, because it always goes back to the caregivers. If your child in a place that has no emotional support from the caregivers, what that tells you right there, they're not going to be worried about the child. They're not going to show the child any kind of love. And when you're not around to provide this love for your child, the child will clearly not get it. The daycare will not step in. So make sure when you go into these places, look around the facility, check and see if it's stimulating, check and see if they got puzzles, games, not only a movie or cartoon. Make sure they got books, crayons, or whatever you have you. And you need to do this on each visit you have, because that one visit might be detrimental to your child's safety or health, or its mentality. Depends on what happened, because a lot happens in these places. So you have to be aware of that also. Do not let no one play with your child. Do not let anyone sit up here and do your child any kind of way. It is our job as a parent to protect them. I just want to hit y'all with this video. Let me know what you think. You like, subscribe. Hey, till next time, stay blessed. I'm out.